back here, Peter Rabbit. Peter Rabbit.
Peter Rabbit doesn't want to fuck with you. Welcome back.
I'm chasing down this really cute bunny, but it's too fast for me. Oh wait, I have a broom.
This time,
Hi, cutie.
I am going to finally get started on the Natty Onai quest. Or her quest called A Friend Indeed. You know what they say? You know what they say? A friend in need is a friend to leave. So.
Is this Mr. Bickle's home?
I believe so.
I'm gonna do a post aid
Supposedly
by
has evidence against Harlow. We need to speak with him.
by Poppy with Poppy. Why do these apples look purple?
I'm sorry,
Actually,
The Lost
no,
Child. I thought it was called A Friend Indeed, but it's called The Lost Child.
My husband.
I've never seen a purple apple. Have you all? It's fucking crazy.
In the world of Harry Potter, that's the crazy thing. It's the fact that an apple's fucking purple.
Yeah. That's the only crazy thing, man.
Are you alright? We're looking for Mr. Bickle.
My husband is dead. He killed him.
Oh, I'm terribly sorry, Mrs. Bickle. Who killed your husband?
Theophilus Harlow. I'm sure of it.
Well, I already
He's
killed
been threatening
Harlow.
my husband for weeks and... Oh, where is my son? Where is Archie?
Oh yeah, that's actually a good question. What the fuck? If Harlow's dead, this theoretically you shouldn't be able to do these missions.
When did you
I mean,
last
we
see
don't know
him?
how long
Archie
ago
was
it
home with
was.
his
It said
father
that
when I
he's been
left.
missing for weeks,
His
so...
satchel's missing. Hopefully he's just
True.
gone wandering, as he's prone to do. I hope he wasn't here when Harlow...
Oh yeah.
When my
While we're both in cutscenes, you did say
Do
you
you know
had
which way
something to
Archie might
mention
have
or
gone?
talk about.
Yeah, I was getting to
He
the
has
end
a
of the
little
cutscene
hideout
first.
in the forest south
Well,
of here.
we'll
He
get there.
never
We'll get
wanders
there.
far. But if he witnessed Harlow doing something to his father,
It's not like something important or anything like
I'm
that. I just thought
afraid to
it was
leave.
something
in
interesting.
case he comes back home.
Okay.
It was just an interesting conversation.
We'll find your son.
I'll
Mrs.
find your
Bickle.
bitch ass
Thank
son.
you. What am I
Doesn't even know where his own
going to
fucking
do?
house is. What a fucking idiot. Do a better job raising your kid.
Damn it.
Please
Your game
do
just
not
crashed?
worry, Mrs. Bickle.
It just fucking
Where could
crashed.
Archie
Hold
have
on.
gone? If anything happens to him,
I was like, fuck you.
So while you're doing that, and while I'm walking to Archie's hideout, my wife
When I
works at a
took the letter
school,
we found to
and
Officer
she
Field,
just
she told me about Mr. Bickle.
Are you adopting a kid?
No. As I said, there's nothing important or like nothing like no groundbreaking news or anything. It's just an interesting conversation.
But we were too late.
And for those of you who don't know, I live in the state of Tennessee now, but I used to be from Illinois. I just moved here like a couple years ago. But her school may be closed tomorrow. They may be closing the school because of thunderstorms and the chance of a tornado. And so I was like, who the fuck closed the school because of a chance of tornado? And they're like,
Tennessee.
apparently Tennessee does. In Illinois, tornadoes are just another Saturday. Literally my family, when tornadoes are going on and we're in the car, we drive towards it to try to find it because we want to watch it.
Okay, mainly
Apparently.
in Tennessee, a lot of places in Tennessee are in like valleys. So when a tornado warning comes on like that, it's like a really serious thing. We take tornadoes seriously here.
So nobody here is like used to them. I get, and we live in tornado. What is it called? Tornado.
The tornado belt, I think.
No, it's a
I don't
tornado.
She thanked me,
Tornado Isle.
but she clearly felt that it
Tornado
was not
Alley,
enough.
I think it's called.
It is a
But
shame that
regardless, we have tornadoes all the time.
Your friend
Like
Halloween could provide
and
all the
they
evidence
do
against
cause
Harlow that we
destruction.
need.
But it's, I don't know, it's just I guess something that, since it's more common, sort of like earthquakes in California, they probably don't care as much about those as if it was in any other state. But, and obviously if they're extreme enough, like if there's an F5 tornado or whatever, then sure. I just thought it was weird because every time we've had tornadoes since I've moved here, which has been like once or twice. Everybody's always like freaking out, and I'm like, it's just a little windy. I just thought it was interesting, just because I feel like it's something to do with the difference in location. But also, it's also similar to how people from Illinois struggle with the heat here sometimes. Whereas it's like the heat's an everyday thing here.
This must be little Archie's hideout that Mrs. Bickle mentioned.
Whitney, what are you doing?
Sorry, we were talking about this, and I got curious about something. Because Tennessee doesn't really get that many tornadoes. I was kind of curious how many tornadoes a year Tennessee technically does get. And it's been recorded since 1997 that Tennessee actually only gets about 31 tornadoes a year. While Illinois usually gets an average of about 54 per year. Except for in 2006, where a record of 124 were recorded.
Yeah. Illinois is also smaller, or at least like I'm like where I'm at in Illinois is like the exact spot where the tornadoes tend to really go through. Like it's not as bad up like closer to Chicago. It's not that bad, but
There, Archie's footprints.
I just realized, by the way,
what's that?
for people watching my video, I'm back. I'm back. My game crashed. I totally forgot to unpause the recording for that whole fucking conversation, so it's like only on your side. We were talking about tornadoes in Tennessee and how schools close for tornado warnings because Tennessee doesn't get that many tornadoes a year. It's like a rare thing, and most places in Tennessee are in like the valley or whatever, so it's a lot more serious when tornadoes do hit.
I guess another example I guess I would put is I have a cousin who lives in Minnesota. Like another thing to compare it to, I have a cousin who lives in Minnesota, where it's obviously much colder than both here and Illinois. All right, I'll prepare for our fight.
I wonder what kind of creature y'all were eating, because these look like too big to be human bones.
What was this? Oh yeah, so for them, like, snow is taken way less seriously than it is here, because their snow is so much worse. Like, whereas we close schools for snow, like, if there's like 2 inches of snow, meanwhile, like, they have to get at least like 1.5 feet to cancel school.
Yeah, here usually any snow will be canceled most of the time.
Illinois, it's not.
It does not snow in Tennessee.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's more
very rare.
like it requires more in Illinois than here, but Minnesota requires even more than it does in Illinois. Like Illinois gets cold, but
Illinois, I'm kind of not concerned. I don't know. I was about to say concerned. I'm kind of curious.
Why would he leave it behind?
The game, because I don't want to get 5 useful from talking about this. I'm kind of curious. In Tennessee, especially when I was in school, we have a lot of student holidays where teachers would literally just, the school system would just be like, you know what, no school today. Like, there was nothing going on. There was no holiday or anything like that. They just call them student holidays, where you legit just don't have to go to school for that day. School's closed for that day. And it usually happens about 10 or 12 times a year.
I wonder what Archie saw.
Per school semester.
Kill his father.
And then plus all the holidays you get and everything like that, and like dorm closings and whatnot. So like, you're usually like maybe in school like 3/4 of the time the semester actually is. I was just kind of curious. In Illinois, do they have anything like student holidays? At least when you were in school.
This is not good. They went this way.
Depending on, I'm not sure if it matches your description. There's a bunch of like weird holidays that we would have off that I didn't think were that important. I'm gonna kill a Thestral. Fuck, I can't. Why can't I invade a cadaver a Thestral?
They are beautiful.
It's already dead.
You can see Thestrals too.
I witnessed that.
Oh yeah, I can't do damage to it. Damn, I was hoping. I was like, how weird would it be? Like, how goofy would it be to kill a Thestral?
I think those of us who have witnessed death deserve some
Anywho,
comfort.
back to the conversation at hand. You were saying, what about your school?
And we had some really weirdly specific holidays. Like one that I recently learned. Where are you at, Natty? What the fuck?
And I felt quite helpless.
Oh,
It
okay.
was a
There,
long
I've learned
time
it.
ago in some
I was gonna say,
ways,
I just learned something about
but
Natty
in
because
other
she can
ways,
see thestrals.
seems like it was only yesterday.
Apparently, she watched her dad die.
You must miss him.
My
Oh
father
yeah,
was a
yeah.
wonderful man.
I forgot about that.
Let us go. We must find out.
Anyway, so what weird holidays did you have?
Well, there's one. It's an Illinois specific holiday, called shit, what was it called? Kashmir Pulaski Day, which is in January, I believe. And that was it. And we always got the day off for that. And I'm like, I have no idea who the hell that is.
I wonder if it was like an important.
And I think he was. I think he was a military. I looked it up. I think he was like a military general or something who was from Illinois.
Okay.
Something like that.
I was to say it was probably like a really prominent figure based in your town or whatever.
I looked up the state of Illinois specific. It's an Illinois only holiday. So I had no clue who the hell he was until like a couple months ago. Even though I was just holiday off every year in school.
Well, the reason I ask was because I know probably moving
I did
down
not
here,
expect this tent to be so
Shelby
large
was
on the
probably a
inside.
little confused
That
about that
complicates
too.
things a little.
Like the student holiday thing. Because they probably, I don't know if they do it for elementary school or like younger schools. I knew in high school and like middle school that they did it. But when I first moved up here in Alabama, there's no such thing as a student holiday or days off like that. You would get days off for holidays, like actual holidays, and you would get days off if it was like a severe snowstorm or like severe snow. Because also where I lived in Alabama, it didn't really snow that much. But other than those two things, you wouldn't actually get out of school. Like, you wouldn't have school off. Tornado warnings, you wouldn't, schools wouldn't be closed. You would actually just, take shelter inside the school. So, coming up here to Tennessee when I was younger, when my mom actually seen the student holiday thing for the first time, and I told her about it, she was, like, really confused. And she was like, what the fuck? She thought I was trying to get out of going to school. But no, like, school's legitimately closed. You could, like, call, but, like, they're closed. It's a student holiday. She was like, what the hell is a student holiday? I was just kind of curious if that was, like, just a Tennessee thing, or if that was, like, other states had things like that.
Yeah, I don't think that was there. If I did it, I don't recall it. The only, like, and specific day I took off wasn't even like a day we were supposed to technically have off, which was senior ditch day. Or just one day that seniors just don't show up to school.
Oh my god. That I don't know if other school systems do this or like if your high school did this. But here in Tennessee, if you don't miss that many days, I think it was like more than 3 days your senior year, and you have a B or higher in your classes, you get to skip final exams. Like, you did not have to come to final exams.
I was gonna say we had a thing where you could like, I think you could like take them earlier. Like you could finish a couple days earlier, like or like a week or two.
Got to
but
finish a few days
you did
earlier,
not get to
but then...
skip exams.
Yeah, no, you totally just did not have to do exams. Because your grades were high enough and you know your attendance was perfect, pretty much. You legit got to skip all your exams. Now I did show up to school. I did get to skip my exams, but I did show up to school anyway that day of the exams.
Archie?
At least the first part, because the way they do exams, you do your first 2 classes on one day, and then your second 2 classes. So it's like only a half day, but you do your first 2 classes one day, and then your other exams the next day.
We need to get this open.
Well, I showed up on the first day because my art teacher didn't put in all the grades for the for the year in yet, so it was showing that I was failing the class. And according to the school rules, I had to show up because the system shows I have an F in the class. I remember this because she yelled at me and asked me why the hell I was there. I said, because you didn't put the grades in, it shows I have an F in the class. So I had to sit there and wait for like the first period to finish, and like I went to second period.
He killed my father.
And I used my friend's phone to call my mom and was like, hey, I didn't even have to show up to school today. You know, I just got yelled at by this art teacher for even showing up.
We wouldn't have it any other way,
I'm just kind of
Archie.
sitting in math class while
let's
everyone's
get you
taking
home.
the
We know a
exam.
safe way
Will you
back.
come pick me up? And like she came and got me. And then I didn't even bother showing up for the next day because I already knew I didn't have to show up for the second day. But I just thought it was kind of a funny situation that happened due to that.
Did you guys do senior ditch day? Did your class do that?
Our class, the school did it, senior ditch day. Now it is still counted against you, so I did not participate because I did not want to take the exam.
They tell us that they will count it against us, but everybody still the school does not participate in it, and they said it would count against us. But everybody, like, I think only 3 people showed up out of our whole class that day.
Well,
And,
okay,
and
so
from what I heard, the teacher, I had a friend that showed up and he said the teachers literally didn't plan anything. As well, the school themselves said to punish people. The teachers were like, all the seniors are gonna do it, so like, might as well like just make it not a thing that's gonna punish them for leaving, but reward the people that do show up instead. And they got like they showed up and most of them were literally just like watching movies and eating snacks for their classes. And I was like, that's kind of cool. I still didn't show up. I worked at a movie theater at the time, so I literally spent the entire day watching movies in the theater with free popcorn.
I'm gonna pause right here for a second because this is loud with the fire bombs going off. But no, so it did count against us because our school didn't encourage senior skip day. Our school was like very anti senior skip day, but all the seniors still got together to skip. So they were like, you can skip, but it's gonna count against you. And because I did not want to take the exams, I'm a very bad test taker. Did not want to take this exam that was like
I'm afraid
half our fucking grade.
Then you needn't anger him further.
I was like, I'm not doing that. I was already 7 credits. I don't know if I ever told you this. 7 credits behind my senior year from graduating. So on top of the 8 classes I had to take for senior year for the first semester, 4 for the first semester, 4 for the second semester, I had to take
Wait, you only
7
take 4
additional
classes at a time?
Well, we have 4 major classes the first semester, but then we have like PE or like other classes, driver's ed and things like that. But like our 4 primary classes that are like, you know, your mathematics and stuff like that, geometry, like not geometry, but mathematics, your English classes, your foreign language classes, things like that. You had 4 per semester. But on top of like the 4 major classes I had, plus the 2 extra classes, because you had usually about 6 per, I was taking 7 extra classes after school. So I had like 7 classes that I split in half. Did a couple the first semester and the rest the second semester. Legitimately went to take my final exam for one of my makeup classes 2 days before graduation and it determined if I was going to get that credit or not. It was going to determine if I was going to graduate. Luckily I passed, barely, but I passed. And I was so bad. I was like so panicking because I'm very bad at taking tests. I have ADHD. My brain's always fucking everywhere. I can't take tests. I'm really bad at tests. So my whole high school career depended on that one test.
That's weird. The finals for me were the only reason I graduated, just because I took the finals. I'm the opposite. I do horrible with, or I do amazing with tests and projects, but I do horrible with like homework. And
okay, I didn't do my homework. That's why I failed the 7 classes, because I never did my homework.
That's what I was failing too. I never did my homework At
the time, it was what was it? I think it was my junior year. It was my junior year. I failed 7 classes. I was slacking off. Like, I did not give a fuck. My junior year, I had things going on. I was honestly a few days from, like, trying to consider if I was going to drop out of high school or not. Like, that's how bad it was. So I was like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm just going to hang out with my friends. I'm not even going to pay attention in class. I'm just going to talk, have fun, not give a fuck. Well, senior year came along. I ended up staying in school. They're like, well, you're 7 credits behind. And I'm like, okay, well, what can I do to make these credits up? It's like, is there anything? She's like, yeah, you can attend summer classes, which will be at home classes. So everything was at home classes. You can attend summer classes. You can take extra classes during the school year. So like pretty much the whole year I was in school nonstop, doing my lessons. I graduated, walked across the stage. Believe it or not, that's when I actually had my hot pink hair and my nose piercing. I really want to get that nose piercing back. But yeah, so I graduated. But yeah, I did not want to take the exams at all. So I did not do senior skip day. What else happened during that time period? I don't think anything else significant really happened during that time period. I do remember, I don't know if you ever had teachers fight, like legitimately like get into an argument in middle class with each other.
I feel like it's happened. It happened like once or twice. It wasn't like huge. I did witness some. There was a time where a teacher got involved in a fight with a. How do I word this without making it sound like the teacher started beating the shit out of a student? That's not what happened.
I'm not talking about with the student. I'm talking about with another teacher.
Yeah, I know. I was gonna say I've seen a couple arguments between them. Nothing like crazy, but there was a time that there were 2 students involved in a physical fist fight, and when a teacher tried to break it up, the teacher got brought into the fist fight as well, and or like was getting the crap beaten out and had like initially like would not swing back, was just trying to restrain, but eventually he did swing back, but. I don't think anything ended up happening to the teacher because he didn't like continuously beat the kid, but like the it was like yeah, but it was like I forget if he was a junior or a senior at the time, but he was an upperclassman. I think he was the senior. I don't remember who it was. I just remember he started the fight and he was beating the crap out of another student. The teacher tried to restrain him, and the student started beating the crap out of him. And when he couldn't stop him, I think he knocked him like once or twice. And then was able to restrain him.
I mean, that's understandable.
Like it wasn't as brutal as involved, but like I never thought I'd see the day when a teacher swings back, right? And somebody physically attacking the teacher for the most part, in high school. We had a kid back in like elementary school that had I don't remember what exactly it was. 'Cause I think I was too young to know, but late elementary school we had a kid that had some sort of mental situation, and he was very easily angered, and he would physically lash out at his teachers a lot, but he eventually got pulled from the school, so I don't know what ended up happening to him. I actually went to go check on his Facebook a while back, but he hasn't posted in like 7 years, so but people still post on his thing for his birthday, so I have no idea what ended up happening to him.
Okay, so the argument that I witnessed, I only ever witnessed one, and it was my senior year of high school, and I remember this because I thought it was fucking hilarious. I absolutely hated my first period art teacher, the same one that yelled at me about the fucking exams.
I can see why he said that.
Funny enough, I had her for my first period.
Sorry,
and for my last period, I had another art teacher. So I was taking photography at the time, so I could go to college and take photography. So I had 2 art teachers that year, one for my very first class and one for my very last class. This was like second semester, so this is right before graduation. Both of these art teachers absolutely fucking hate each other. I thought it was funny because my first period art teacher, her name was Miss Anderson. not gonna throw
How
out,
do you
her
feel
first
about
name
committing some
or anybody
grand
else's first name, but Miss
plant
Anderson.
Oh no, there's not very many
Um,
Andersons.
Well, here they are. Here there are.
No, I was
Um,
joking. Anderson's one of the most common last names in the world.
Miss Anderson was
At least in
my
the
art
United States.
teacher. She would teach me painting and things like that. So I had Miss Anderson first period. I had Miss Dick second period. They
Miss Dix?
absolutely yes, no, Miss Dick.
Mystic?
Miss Dick, yeah. Absolutely hated each other. They could not stand each other. The first art teacher would always like critique my work, just she was like a real bitch. Like, I know you're like supposed to judge students' artwork to the point where like you're supposed to correct them, but she would do it on a level that was not considered
Constructive.
not constructive or appropriate. Like she was very brutal. Like she did not give a fuck. Like she would legitimately like tell you like you don't even need to be in.
She's the Selena Blackthorne of teachers.
Yes, exactly. I actually had two art teachers like that, and I drove one to quit. I'll get to that story later on.
What the fuck is this? You think this is supposed to be a fucking animal? It looks like your fucking aunt sat on a fucking rat and tried to put fucking makeup on it while she was blind and facing backwards.
That's pretty much how she would talk. And I thought it was so funny because my brother actually got her a few years later, and I'll get into that story in a second. Because it was fucking hilarious. What he told me was absolutely fucking phenomenal. Anyway, so her and Mystic like got into an argument because she was being rude to students and like not providing constructive criticism and basically telling people that their art is trash. So when I used to get down with first period, I would bring my art to my last period as well, and I would ask her for help and like this is what Miss Anderson said. Her advice, like she didn't give me any advice, she didn't tell me what I needed to correct or anything. Can you please take a look at it and provide some feedback? So she would help me on my art. Now they got into an argument because she had legitimately made this one girl cry so fucking bad that her and Mystic got into an argument. So I was pretty much fucking cracking up at that point. I absolutely fucking hated Miss Anderson. Mystic was awesome. The probably best photography teacher I've ever had. But getting into my brother's story of Miss Anderson, the way that the school worked, or like the way my siblings and I worked, I was 2 years behind my sister, so by the time I got to my sophomore year, she was graduated, she was out of school. We won't get into that. She was out of school. By the time I was a senior, my brother had become a sophomore. Well, he had Miss Anderson for his art class, because you are required to take one art class in school, whether it be like photography, sculpting, painting, drawing, whatever. You had to have one form of art class. He got Miss Anderson. Kid you fucking not. Okay, Jesse, I kid you fucking not. My brother comes home, and I'm like, so how was your first day of class with Miss Anderson?
Stop, Bandit!
And he looks at me, and he has this horrified fucking look on his face. And I said, oh, was she that much of a bitch? He goes, no. She fucking sat up there, and she, like, introduced herself. And then she pulled out a picture of her bodybuilding photos.
Now, to find that
and I was like, she fucking did not. Like, full on, like, those bodybuilder outfits and shit. Like, full on, like, when she was younger, how she did, like, big buff bodybuilder. And showed my brother. This poor boy was, like, so fucking scarred from that photo. Like, what the fuck? Like, she didn't do that with us, so the fact that she did that with my younger brother, I was dying. I was like, oh god, if that's the worst that she's done, just wait until she starts being a bitch. But oh my fucking god, that was like the greatest introduction that you could have ever fucking had. I was like, that is amazing, that is amazing. But I have a question for you.
What's that?
Because I know we were talking about, how that teacher and that student had gotten into a fight or whatever. Well, it didn't really get into a fight.
Where is that venomous tentacular?
Have you ever been in a school fight?
Yes, technically. So anybody who knows me knows, contrary to Selena Blackthorne, the character I'm playing right now, I am not a violent person.
Oh, absolutely not.
By
I've
any
known
stretch of the
Jesse going on 2
imagination.
years. He's not a violent person.
I'm
I don't think
not
Jesse and
violent.
I have ever been mad at each other in the 2 years. Well, pretty much the 2 years that we've known each other. That is how like non-violent and non-confrontative he is.
I'm very non-violent, but I don't know what caused this guy to attack me. He was a class above me. I think was I a freshman or sophomore? He was a class above me, and I don't. Did I make some joke he didn't like? I don't remember. But he was a bandmate, and he. I don't remember. I really wish I could remember what it was that pissed him off so much, but I don't remember. But I remember we were outside. It was after a marching band performance, or it was marching band practice. No, it was definitely a performance, because it was nighttime. We didn't practice at night. And we were standing outside the school, right outside where the band room was. I said something, and he was like, "All right, you better you better run because I'm gonna beat your ass," or something like that. So basically, implicating he's about to beat the shit out of me, and he's definitely bigger than me. And so I was like, all right, and so I literally did run, but like he was like right on my tail. I was running around the school grounds. The high school and junior high were right next to each other, so I was running between the two buildings, or through the little sidewalk that goes between them. And like, so I took her off around the corner to go through there, and he passed, like, or he was right behind me, and there's a trash can right if you turn the corner again, like to go to the front of the high school. So I round the corner and I grabbed the trash can lid, and right as he ran around the corner, I bashed him over the head with it.
Oh my god. I could just see this playing out as a cartoon skit.
Yeah, I was like, this is the kind of shit you would see in a cartoon, but hey, it fucking worked. And he didn't like, he was fine. He wasn't like knocked unconscious or anything, but he was like, oh, like he was definitely like kind of dizzy. So he was just like, all right, never mind, I'm good. And I was like, well, I know how to deal with people bigger than me. Just, I knew I could, because also I'm gonna throw out there, I was a track and cross country runner, so I knew he wouldn't be able to catch me if I ran away. But like, I also didn't want to get called like a pussy or something the next day in school. So I was like, I gotta do something. Also, like, I don't want him to still be like trying to fight me later. Cause like I gotta do something. So that's why I went after the trash can. But yeah, it was one of those like aluminum trash cans that you hardly see anymore. But
Oh my god,
that was a good story.
You are the reason why schools now, well, most schools, I don't know if most schools, okay, let me reiterate. You are the reason that my school locks their fucking trash cans up, okay?
And he swung at me, so like I knew he wasn't fibbing. He did swing at me right before I started running. Like he was definitely serious, and he was definitely he was fucking pissed about something. I really wish I could remember what it was I said.
Hello, Mr. Barnes. I have that venomous tentacula.
He was always kind of jealous of me because we played the same instrument and I was a higher chair than he was.
Let's see who's volatile now.
Oh, that is actually a big
I'll take
thing.
it off your hands.
For people who are not band geeks, I used to actually play the flute. I actually was first chair for the flute section.
I was second chair for my entire life.
10 minutes. I was first chair for 10 minutes. And then I got moved to second chair because someone played a little bit better.
I suspect you have a bright
I was second chair the entire time. I could not get past this one guy in my class, so I couldn't even like have him graduate and get in front of. Well, I was technically third chair my freshman year because we had the senior that we had my freshman year was first chair, and then I was second chair throughout junior high and in high school. So I was always second chair, except for the freshman year where I was third because that one senior. But
Well, I was always like 4th or 5th chair, but then like the first time I ever got first chair was like a huge deal. Because that just showed how like advanced I had like moved up. That was actually only within a year. I was 5th chair when I very first started playing the flute. And then I moved up to first chair the next year. / 2nd chair because I got moved down. But I was like really amazed and really impressed because I thought I was gonna get at least 3rd chair. I thought I was at least gonna get 3rd chair. But they were like, no, you're first chair. And then we have like 2 more people to play. But they weren't there at the school that day. And then I got moved down to 2nd chair the next day. But it was pretty interesting that you say that you were better. I actually forgot that you even played instruments, like musical instruments, or that you were a band. I think we discussed this like once a long time ago.
Yeah, I've always loved music. I still really wish I could have beaten that. And the guy was very talented at the trombone. The trombone was my instrument, by the way. It's just he was the guy that was above me, not the guy that I was just talking about a moment ago, but the guy that was first chair the whole time. He's such a dick. I wanted to beat him so bad. He always acted like he was above everybody else, and we all kind of hated that. Like, he always acted like he was superior. He's smarter. He knows everything better just because he's first chair.
Basically, he was Selena Blackheart. I got it.
And his was more out of a sense of entitlement rather than out of being just a straight douche. Like, because, oh, I'm first chair, therefore I am better than all of you.
Off on another adventure, are we?
Was his attitude about it, and none of us liked that. But one funny thing though, there was one time for a pep band. I don't know if you guys did that, where you guys played at like basketball games and such.
No, we actually never played for like sports or anything. We had concerts, but we never did like sports or anything.
Interesting. Well, for our pep band, which plays for the school basketball games, our first chair, I'm really trying to make sure I don't speak his name because I just don't want that kind of stuff out there. But he was sick, so he was not able to attend. And of all the songs for us to play during halftime, my band director decides that time to play the one song that has the trombone solo that is exclusively been practiced by the first chair, because he's the only one that, like, he's supposed to play it by himself.
I do not want you visiting Hogwarts.
I was like, and he was like, what was it? Was it a Blues Brothers song? I forget. But he just calls that out. I was like, Mr. Gene was my band director's name. I'm not going to be able to hide that part, but he was an awesome band director. But I was like, Mr. Gene, he's not here to do the solo. He's like, you'll just have to do it then. I was like, I've literally never practiced the solo in my entire fucking life. How am I supposed to do a solo I've never even tried? And he's like, just, I don't know, look at the sheet and just do your best. I was like, okay. I wouldn't say I nailed the solo, but I feel like because I had never practiced it, but I kind of improvised a good amount of it. I am mostly paying attention to the story here right now. This is just right. I was like, I still got cheered at the end of my solo. I was like, I turned to the people, the next couple chairs after me. I was like, did I do okay? And they were like, yeah, it was like, yeah, you did pretty darn good for having never practiced it before. I was like, oh, thank God. Like, I was like, I had no idea what I'm doing. I've never even looked at the sheet music for this before, and I've heard him play it, but I never paid that much attention to it because I was focused on my own part. Because I'm not silent during it. We're still doing our like bass part while he's doing the like jazz solo. But
Now the nickname makes sense.
Oh my god.
oh, it's
No,
Victor
see
Rookwood
that?
be killed. Harlow is live. There's Rookwood that died.
But Mother is less enthusiastic about it.
No, you killed
She
Harlow.
says that no creature,
Did we?
especially
Oh,
one
no,
as
we
well
killed
as the
Rookwood.
Yeah, I was gonna say
Yeah.
I just now noticed because when she said Rookwood and Harlow, I was like, oh yeah, Rookwood's a different person.
claims that she has foreseen tragedy.
I don't remember who Harlow is then.
But she has used her sight
I just
to
remember
No,
Rookwood.
too many times. I no longer believe it.
speaking of which, solos and shit like that, I don't know if it was like this for you, but showing up to concerts was mandatory, or you'd get grades marked off for not showing up.
For concerts, yes. For pep band appearances, like as long as you were there for most of them, they didn't care because there was like there were so many of those. It was like almost every week for months.
I guess you played in high school, right?
Yeah, I technically played from 5th grade through high school, but the pep band marching band didn't start till high school.
High school, yeah, I didn't play in high school, which is why I did not want to do the marching band or anything like that. You're required in high school to start off in marching band before you can do regular band.
I agree. I have never considered
I did not want to
quitting,
do marching
even
band,
for
so
a
I
moment.
gave up playing the flute.
You could have fled the moment you
Also,
discovered that
I'm double
Hogwarts,
jointed.
Harlow,
For
and
people who don't
Ranrock
know,
were
I'm double
after you.
jointed.
But you did not.
Where?
I choose to act as you have.
Like what?
In
Like
my
your
fingers.
fingers? Okay.
Yeah, in my fingers. So when
My
I
mother
played the
cannot
flute,
know where I
my
am
fingers
all
would
the
lock
time.
up sometimes, and honestly, it was very painful
Thank
to
you
try
for
and get them
being
unlocked.
here during that rather
So
awkward conversation.
I was like, you know what, I don't want to join marching band, and also it's starting to get really painful to continuously play the flute. I'm just gonna, give it up. I do still have my flute, so if I ever do want to play it, I can, but I just kind of gave it up, and I'm like, you know what, it's just the better option overall. But because we didn't do things like games or anything like that, we only had the concerts, and since they were mandatory, the soloist was never absent. I never had to do solos. For people who actually don't know me as well as, Jesse does, I 100% absolutely fucking hate being the center of attention. I don't like people staring at me. I don't like eyes on me. I don't like confrontations. I absolutely do not like fighting. I don't like being in fights. Which also leads me back to our little fighting talk, because I do want to mention something from that. I absolutely hate confrontation. So the fact that I did get moved to second chair was so made me so happy, because I didn't even think at the time about the solos. I was just like, in shock that I even got into first chair from fifth chair. That when I was moved to second chair and they were like, oh yeah, first chair has to do solos. Literally the first concert we had, the flute had a solo, and I was like, I am so fucking glad I don't have to do that. So I just thought it was like a really cool thing. But no, speaking of the fighting that we used to do, I used to get into a lot of fights. And when I say I got into a lot of fights, I mean I used to get my ass kicked a lot. Because I don't fight back, because I don't like confrontation.
I'm technically undefeated in fist fights. I'm 1-0.
I never fought back. Usually the fights that I would get into were usually between me and my sister.
Oh.
I think like there was one physical, like they're all physical altercations. Like don't get me wrong, they were physical altercations. But like there was maybe 2 or 3 that were not with my sister, but like they were usually mainly with my sister. And I kid you not, I remember this one time me and my sister got into a fight, and it was because my dumbass friends were like, basically the way that our school system worked was in high school, when classes were over at 3:30, you weren't released. You weren't released until the buses officially got to the school grounds. So everybody who was riding a bus had to go to the gymnasium and sit on the bleachers, and that usually took about 15 to 30 minutes. So we didn't even like get started loading into buses until about 3:45, 4 o'clock to go home. Well, one time we were in the gymnasium waiting for the buses to come.
No need to race.
And it was my friends in the first row. I was sitting on the second row reading a book, not even giving a fuck what my friends were
I don't
doing.
believe we've met.
Pleased to meet you. I'm Samantha.
And then my sister was right behind me
Looking
with her
forward to
friends.
meeting you at Summoner's Court
Character
today.
hasn't met Samantha
Shall we
Daly yet.
begin?
Sorry, I am listening. Sorry, I just got shocked
No,
that
you're
this
good.
character I met literally right at the beginning in my personal playthrough. Never met her.
I'm ready to play. Then let's get summoning.
Fail.
Like I even remembered her
No.
name and everything. But anyway, keep going.
But yeah, no, so my friends were goofing off. And I think it was,
Accio.
can't remember who it was exactly. I don't know if it was the couple that was together,
Dumbass.
but try not to throw out names. I don't know if it was the couple that was together or if it was one of the two single people. Because there was only one couple in our group, and then like 3 single people in our group. So I can't remember if it was like 2 of the single people that were roughhousing, playing around, or if it was the couple that was playing around. But anyway, somehow I had gotten pushed off my bleacher because they knocked into me, and I had gotten knocked into my sister. Well, she got pissed off about it and drug me up by my hair all the way up the fucking bleachers and beat the shit out of me. And the fucking teachers were standing right there just staring at us as the shit was happening. They didn't even try to intervene.
Weird to imagine Nikki being that violent.
Oh yeah, no, she was a little spitball back in high school. Like she only hit me like maybe twice or 3 times or something like that. And then when I explained that, like they fucking pushed me into her. Like she stopped and she apologized. But
come on.
The
yes!
teachers, I think it was not the fact that Nikki had like pulled me up by my hair from the bottom of the bleachers to the top of the bleachers. Across the bleachers, not even up the stairs, across the fucking bleachers, so that was even worse.
Damn.
Yeah.
After your poor
I think it was
show
the fact that the
against Nancy in
teachers were
class,
staring
they
at
thought
us
they
the
could beat
entire
you.
fucking time this was happening.
Guess I overestimated
Like dead at
myself.
us, not even like, you know, in our general section, like staring dead at us. Didn't even try to intervene,
More like
and then
you
after it was all said
underestimated
and done,
me.
they didn't
That
even
was your
discipline
mistake.
either of us.
Fair
I'm like, are you
enough.
fucking kidding me?
But a little sporting spirit.
You're supposed to be in here
from Patchy.
watching us so this shit
I
doesn't
happen
happen.
to
and
know
You're not even
who
gonna
you're up
fucking
against
discipline us.
next, and she's no shy
Fucking
opponent.
idiots.
Best of luck.
But yeah, no. So like that whole shit was like weird. But yeah, no, there was like a few instances like that. Like we got into a fight on the bus one time. I don't even remember whatever. That one was not a physical altercation. No, that was a verbal altercation. I also did not participate in it, so it's just mainly my sister like trashing me the whole time. But it was fine. It was fine. We made up afterwards. But yeah, so any altercation I actually did get into high school, it was always one-sided. Because I was very non-confrontational and did not want to participate in it. I just thought it was kind of interesting that you actually hit somebody with a fucking trash can.
Yeah, it worked.
I wouldn't have fucking imagined you ever, like, I don't know. When I imagine you, I don't imagine you ever getting into a fight. It's really
I
hard to
really wish I
imagine
could
you-
remember what caused it. I don't remember. I know he was just a generally pretty angry dude. I know it was something I did, and I don't remember what it was. I think I made some sort of joke, like
There you are. The cross
that he
wants
didn't
Judas to
like.
beat.
But I don't remember what it was. Also, I'm gonna randomly throw it there in case you did. I imagine you probably didn't see what just happened in Summoner's Court. Samantha
not.
Dale was beating me 80-0 come my last turn. In my last turn, I fucking yeeted one of her balls off, and so I ended up winning 50-30 by literally using her because had these little gravity things that would pull the ball around as it went, and so she had one right, she had a ball right where my character is standing, like right here on the edge of the 50. If I can get my character to stand still on the right spot, God, like right here. And so when my ball was back in the back right corner, so I stood like over here as far left as I could, and I pulled it until it just like kept going, and just yank it right into that one, and use her ball as the stopping mechanism to make sure mine didn't fall off, and
That's
it actually removed her 50 points from her score for me knocking it off. I was like, God damn it, I can't seem to beat these little gravity well thingies. Finally managed to do it that way. Okay, what quest do I want to do next? I was really feeling doing Summoner's Court while we were doing our talking.
Yeah. No, so I don't know. I don't know how you would imagine. I don't know if you would have ever imagined me actually ever getting into a fist fight with somebody.
No, not by a long shot.
I did get into a fist fight with Nikki one time when I was younger.
And yeah, me and my younger brother Peyton got into a million fucking fist fights.
Well, okay, so when I was younger, okay, I think this is what sparked it all. Was me not ever wanting to hit somebody or fight with somebody. When I was younger, I was quick to anger. when I was younger. I don't know what the fuck my sister did. I remember it involved a thumbtack and her throwing it across the fucking room. Okay? And I
That's
fucking
as a
snapped.
responsible adult does, you know?
No, this was when I was like 10.
I know, but still. As a responsible kid does.
I fucking snapped. And I remember this so vividly. So snapped, and I pinned her fucking ass to the wall. My hand was like around her throat, and I pinned her ass to the wall. Okay, I have no idea what the fuck the fight was over. Just ended up with her against the wall. And my uncle and my dad pulling me off of her. And I was like, I don't ever want to be in that situation again. I didn't like it. I was quick to anger. Not quick to anger. Well, kind of quick to anger still. But not as bad. Like, I mean, when I'm angry, I just kind of walk off and just, you know, leave me the fuck alone. I don't want to talk to you.
Well, that explains why you need to hop off of Discord so suddenly sometimes.
Yeah, totally. But no, so I feel like that was like the starting point of me not ever wanting to fight back with somebody. So I just thought it was like interesting, and I don't think because I'm so non-confrontational. I was like, I don't think Jesse would ever see me, or any of my friends would ever really see me as somebody who was like about to go beat the fuck out of somebody. Like, you know what? Fuck you! I'm gonna beat your ass today.
That Archie and Mrs. Bickle mentioned.
It's weird to think that confrontation / fight thing I was talking about happened 8 to 10 years ago. It's crazy.
Oh my God.
It's crazy for me to think about. I feel so old. Like, how much time has passed since
Bitch,
that
I'm older
began.
than you. What the fuck are you talking about?
Look, listen, just because you're a fucking hag that's on her last breath doesn't mean that I can't feel old.
Very well.
You're what?
See what I can learn.
I knew I could rely on you.
20. You're 24, right?
I'm 25.
You're 25.
After you have spoken with them. Hopefully by the
You were
time
23
return,
when we met.
I will be able to move a bit.
You were 23 when we met.
Yeah.
I believe
Yes, I
that.
was. Well, I'm going to go ahead and call this episode here. So we're at 52 minutes.
100%.
So I'm going to call this one here. And we'll catch you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.